Hi everybody, this is Tanya from Nana's Crafty Home for Annie's, and today is the Annie's Block Party Crochet Along. This is my second block that I've worked through with you guys, and I'm really excited about today's square. I popped in a little bit early. I want to make sure that people can come in. Wanted to make sure we didn't have any technical difficulties that I needed to adjust. So we have a couple of minutes to chit chat and say hi. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be doing this every month. So the first Friday of every month at the same time, I'm going to be here to work through a new square. So it's a lot of fun. If you missed me last month, we did a great square last month, but I'm really excited about today's square. It's so pretty. I think you guys are going to love it if you haven't seen it already. So, hi, we already have some people popping on. That's great. Hi from New Jersey, Kate. Debbie. Hi, Denise. Great. So glad you guys are having no trouble getting on here. Let me know if you have any difficulties with anything. If you have any questions, pop on. You can ask me. I've been designing since 2017, and I have my own website, nanascraftyhome.com, if you're interested in checking that out. But I wanted to give you a sneak peek here. I think we have a few minutes before we really go live at noon, but this is the square we're going to be working through today, the Garden Walk Square. Isn't it gorgeous? I just love all the details in this square. It really is pretty. We have this beautiful three-dimensional flower in the center, and actually this is tacked on at the end. So we work through this independently, the square first, then the flower, and then I will show you how to sew that onto the center of your square at the end. Hi Cindy from Illinois, Harmony from Detroit. Lots of people on. I'm so excited. I just did want to warn you, I had a little bit of a cold earlier in the week, had some allergy symptoms, so I may have to stop and take a drink. I've got my trusty favorite sparkling ice here that I may have to take a drink here once in a while just to soothe my voice, but so far so good today. I'm grateful that things seem to be getting a little bit better. Hi, Lucia from Rio de Janeiro. Catherine. Hi from Brazil. Wow, this is great. I'm so glad you guys are here. So let's talk a little bit about the square. It's worked in 3 colors. So if you want to grab your yarn, you just need small amounts of 3 different colors to get the same appearance as mine. And you're going to want a matching crochet hook to the size yarn that you're using. I'm using a worsted weight cotton, number 4 weight cotton for this, and so my hook size is a 5.0 or a size H crochet hook, but it doesn't matter. You guys can use any yarn that you want as long as the hook size corresponds to the weight of yarn that you're using. So, we've got that. The other thing you're going to want for this square is a tapestry needle. I have this one with the little curved end that makes it really easy to weave in ends, as well as to sew that flower onto the center of that square. I did find that a stitch marker was very helpful for me in working this square for that long single crochet stitch. So the edging here, we're going to be working a long single crochet. So that single crochet is going to be worked into a previous round, and it might be helpful for you if you could mark the round as we're working that row of single crochet, and that way it's a lot easier to find the stitches when you're working that long single crochet. It can also be helpful to hold your flower into place when we're ready to sew that on. So that might be another helpful little tool for you to have. Connecticut, we've got New Jersey. You're from Iraq, living in California. Samira, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Hi from Galway, Ireland, Mary. Oh, thank you so much, Vera. I really appreciate that. looks like we're doing pretty good. What are we doing on time here? We're straight up noon. So let's go ahead and get started. Does anyone have any questions before we get going on this? I'm going to try to make it as close to an hour as possible, but some of that may depend on how fast I crochet or how slowly I crochet. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to adjust the camera angle here, so it's going to be a little wonky here for a little bit. And I did want to let you know you can, so let's get this adjusted. Okay, why won't it let me? There. Ta-da! Anyone else has that same problem. I'm also going to adjust my lighting so that you can see this a little bit better. There, is that better? I'm going to move this up just slightly. I still want to be able to see your questions, so bear with me as I get this camera in the best place and out of the way. So I did want to let you know you can print the written pattern instructions for this. There is a link in the description of this video. So you can head on over there and print those free written pattern instructions. You do need to register with your email, but that's all you need to do in order to get to download that pattern. I will tell you that we did find some things in the pattern or written pattern that needed to be adjusted. Those haven't been fixed yet. They are going to be fixed in the written pattern. So what you're seeing me do today won't exactly match the written pattern instructions once we get to round 9 of the square. So I just want to let you know that it is going to be fixed though, and you'll be able to print the new instructions once those are updated. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And I'm starting with my color A, which is this cream color. And I'm going to do a slip knot and get that on my hook. Oops. And I'm going to adjust this again because it's wanting to, I keep hitting it for some reason with my hand. I must have joyful hands. They want to fly all over the place here. So we're going to start with that slip knot. We're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to join to form a ring. So join in that 4th chain from the hook. So that first chain that we made, we're going to make a ring with a slip stitch. So now with round 1, and this is my right side of my work throughout, I'm going to chain 3, and this chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet on this and every round following. And then I'm going to work 2 double crochets into that ring. So in that space that I made in the center, 2 double crochets. So just insert your hook into that center and work 2 double crochets. Chain 2, work 3 double crochets into that ring. And I find it helpful when I'm working a granny square, which is how this is starting out, to kind of push down so that I can get more stitches into that ring without bunching. So I've pulled those down, and now I'm working 3 double crochets into the center of that ring, and then chaining 2 for my corner, and I'm going to do that 2 more times. 3 double crochets into the center of that ring, 1, 2, and 3, 2 double crochets, and then 1 more set. You can see I'm just pulling that down so it gives me a little bit more room in that center. So 3 more double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 2. and I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the third chain of that beginning chain 3. So this top of this beginning chain 3, I'm going to work a slip stitch. And round 1 is completed. So really just the beginning of a standard granny for that first round. I'm going to slip stitch, and you can see here, these next 2 double crochets, I'm going to work a slip stitch at the top at each of those stitches. And that brings me to my first corner, and I'm going to slip stitch into that corner and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to work 2 double crochets in that chain 2 space. Chain 2 and work 3 double crochets into that same chain 2 space. And this is my first, oh, my yarn wants to split, 3 double crochets into that same chain 2 space. And so this is my beginning corner made. So now in the next chain 2 space, I'm going to skip over these 3 double crochets, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So there's 3, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So that's a corner made, and I'm going to repeat that same stitch sequence to make 2 more corners, skipping over those 3 double crochets, working 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 double crochets into each of those next 2 chain 2 spaces. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets into that same space. 1, 2, and 3, and then work another corner in that last chain 2 space here. So 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. To end round 2, I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the top of that beginning chain 3, just as I did in the previous round. For round 3, I'm going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So at the top of those double crochets, slip stitch, and that brings me to my chain 2 corner space. And I'm going to work another beginning, the same beginning corner as my previous round. So slip stitch into the corner, chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, all worked in that same chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to work 3 double crochets into the space between these double crochet clusters. So you can see here, this was that chain or the 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets in this space. So not working in the stitch, but in that space. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm just going to double check. It's hard for me to check the comments and questions while I'm crocheting, but I just want to make sure, does anyone have any questions? Any problems? I don't see anything. Let me know if you're having trouble seeing anything, if I'm going too quickly. I am happy to make adjustments. So then I'm at the next chain 2 corner space here, and I'm going to work my regular corner just as I did in that previous round. 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, all worked in that same chain 2 corner space. And again, in between those 3 double crochets, that cluster, I'm going to be working 3 double crochets in that space between them. So 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to be repeating that all the way throughout this round, working my corner in the next chain 2 space. So this is a good time to ask, do you guys like to use just granny squares? Or you guys use these for, I love granny squares. I love just the retro look about them. They're great for scraps. I mean, just to keep making a blanket just in a granny square. They're fun, they're soothing. It like brings me back to my childhood. Making my first granny square when I was a kid. There's just something so nostalgic about going back to your crochet roots for me. So I'm working another crochet corner with that 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet in that chain 2 space, and then in that last space between clusters I work 3 double crochets. There's just so many things you can make with your standard granny square too. You know, blankets and scarves. I mean, just so many different things, and I'm getting ahead of myself here. Make sure that we end this round with a slip stitch at the top of that chain 3, and I've completed round 3. So this is where we are now. That is taking shape, and we're going to be fastening off. Oh, it looks like we had a reconnect issue. Is everybody still on? Any problems? It looks like we're doing okay. So now we're going to be bringing in color B, and for color B I have this beautiful mossy green color that I'm using. And I'm going to be joining color B in any corner chain 2 space. So in any chain 2 corner space, I'm going to be joining. So I'm going to get my yarn and my hook again. Looks like we're having connection problems. Looks like Frances did some pillows and did a granny square bookmarker. Oh, I bet that was cute. What a great way to use up scrap yarn. Hopefully everyone is still able to watch. I keep getting a reconnect message, so hopefully that's not affecting anyone else. So I'm just going to be joining that color B with a slip stitch into that chain 2 corner space. And I'm going to work a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then work another beginning corner. But this time I'm going to do 1 double crochet, sorry. We're going to be doing a little bit differently. We're going to be working 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets. So this is my beginning corner for my double crochet rows. So that's 3. And I keep, video is off. Okay. I don't know if we just have a poor connection. but I think people are having trouble seeing the video because of that poor connection. But in the next corner space, I'm going to work 2 double crochets. All right, this is video part 2. I am not exactly sure what's happening. We have a poor wireless connection. I don't seem to be having any problems with my wireless connectivity here, so I'm not sure if we're having issues overall. I just don't know. I'm so sorry. That is always so disconcerting when we have technical issues, but we just need to roll with it, right? Going to happen. Is everyone able to see the video? Is the video off? Okay, I'm getting some hearts, so maybe I'm gonna go back a little bit because for a lot of people, corner, in the corner, and now for this in the top of each of these stitches with a double crochet in. I am so sorry. I don't know quite what to do. Well, I'm just working a double crochet in the top of these next 3 double crochets. Double crochet in that space between the double crochet clusters, and then double crochet in the top of those next 3 stitches. Double crochet in that space between those double crochet clusters, and double crochet in the top of each of those next 3 stitches. And then in my corner, I'm going to be working my regular corner. It's a new corner now. 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets in that same chain 2 space. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing, working a double crochet in the top of each of those next 3 stitches. Oh good, it seems okay now. Oh good. And then double crochet in that space between the clusters, double crochet in the top of those next 3 stitches. Boy, I tell you, there's nothing quite like trying to figure out connection problems when you're not a techie person. I don't know if any of y'all can relate, but oh my goodness. Then double crochet in the top of those next 3 stitches. And then I'm going to be just repeating that on around. When I get to this chain 2 corner space, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in that same space, double crochet at the top of those next 3 stitches, and just continue repeating, working at the top of each stitch, double crochet in between each of the clusters all the way around. This really is a pretty square once it's completed. Hopefully Facebook will allow me to finish working through the whole square. Oh, you guys, what a day. Chain 2 and 2 double crochets. double crochet in the top of each of those next 3 stitches. And then double crochet in between. Oops. Double crochet in the top of those next 3. Double crochet in between, and then double crochet in top of those next 3 stitches. And one of those is going to be that chain 3 at the beginning in my beginning corner. So you're going to work that double crochet in the top of that chain 3. These 2 might be a little tight because remember these were the 2 stitches that we worked those slip stitches into. So these might be a little tight for you. It is still pausing, but you're getting the gist of it. Good. And I do kind of feel like I'm powering on a little bit. It's pretty bad when you think you need a glass of wine at 11 o'clock in the morning, Kansas time. Oh, goodness. Thank you all for your patience. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so then we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 to finish out round 4. And let's see if we have any questions. So round 4 is completed. Basically what we did here is we just worked a round of double crochets, working 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in each chain 2 space. Oh, thank you so much. Annie's, you guys are great. I really appreciate you. So round 5, we're going to go ahead and it's 12:30 there. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Oh my goodness, you guys are awesome. All right, so chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to double crochet in the next double crochet. So at the top of this next stitch, work a double crochet. And then in my double crochet in my chain 2 space in the corner, I'm going to work 2 double crochet corner in the next corner. So this is my chain 2 space, and I'm going to work a standard corner. So 1, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. So I just worked a standard 2 double crochet corner in that chain 2 space. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next 15 stitches. Well, those 15 stitches are all of these double crochets from that previous round. So I'm just going to be working a double crochet in the top of each of those stitches. So this is a good time. It seems like I'm gonna probably not say it out loud because I'm gonna jinx myself here, but it seems to be going okay. This is a good time to ask questions to you guys. What do you use your granny squares for? Of course, you know, this would make an awesome blanket, especially if you're working each of these squares that I'm working through every month, just saving them up and then making a big blanket at the end. I think that would look so cool. But are you making multiples of the same square? Are you making bags, scarves? What are you guys making with these? I would love to hear from you and see what you're working on. So then in my corner, I'm going to be working my standard 2 double crochet corner. So 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet in that same chain 2 space. And then I'm just going to be repeating what I just did all the way around, working a double crochet in the top of each of these stitches from the previous round, and then working a 2 double crochet corner in each of my chain 2 spaces. So this square is actually great, I think, for blankets, obviously, but I think this is a great square for like sitting in front of a movie, you know, watching your favorite shows, because it's such an easy pattern, and once you've gotten it memorized, which is pretty easy to do, you could whip through several of these in an evening. They're great too for on-the-go crochet. I think we talked about that last month. You know, if you're traveling, we're in the corner here, so a 2 double crochet corner, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. And don't be shy, leave comments, questions, critiques. If you think that I'm going too fast, I'm happy to adjust. And then we're going to be working a double crochet in each of these stitches. Oops. And what are you guys doing this summer? Have you guys been enjoying your summer? I know it's been hot here. I live in Kansas. If you don't know me, I live in the United States and in Kansas, and it gets quite hot here in the summer. We had a little bit of break over the last few days, which was really nice, but we're getting back into that 100-degree range again this weekend, so I gotta love that AC, especially for crocheters, right? Chain 2, 2 double crochets. I'm working that 2 double crochet corner in that chain 2 space. You know, for us crocheters, a lot of us are already working on our fall and winter stuff. So those big blankets, I'm working on blankets right now. So without AC, I don't think that would be possible. Just too hot. But that's what makes these kinds of projects, if you are making a blanket, so great, because it's not gonna lay heavy on your lap, right? We're getting to the end of this round, just working a round of double crochet in every stitch and a 2 double crochet corner in every chain 2 space. And we're just gonna finish up by working a double crochet in that last stitch. And now we're going to join slip stitch at the top of that chain 3 to complete round 5. So now we're going to move on to our single crochet rounds, and round 6 is the round that we're going to be working our long single crochet into, and I will show you what that means. So for round 6, I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to single crochet in that same space. So in that same, at the top of that chain 3, I'm going to work a single crochet. And then I'm going to work a single crochet in the next 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to make a single crochet corner by working 3 single crochets in that chain 2 space. So this is the round that I'm going to be coming back and working into with that long single crochet. So if it helps you, and I think I threw my stitch marker down in a fit over here when let me just grab it. Sorry about that. Things were just flying around. It's a good thing I could find it. Okay, so got my trusty stitch marker here. And if it helps, when you're working long single crochets, I like to just mark this round. So I'm just going to put a stitch marker in the top of one of those single crochet stitches, and that will help indicate that round when I'm working my long single crochet. So I'll just leave that hanging out here. I'll work in the next round, just work in that stitch, but I'll just leave that stitch marker there. That's not a necessary thing. That's just something that I have found works really well if you're working stitches into previous rounds, to just mark them, and to me it just seems a lot easier. So I just completed my first single crochet corner, which was 3 single crochets in that chain 2 space, and now I'm just going to be single crocheting in the top of each of my double crochet stitches from that previous round. So now it's just really, this whole round is really just working single crochets in every single stitch from the previous round, and then working 3 single crochets in each chain 2 space. So it's so easy. The only problem with that stitch marker is it likes to make noise on my board. I saw a comment earlier I didn't get a chance to respond to, but I saw that someone was making a granny square sweater. That is one thing I've never done, is make a sweater out of granny squares. I've seen so many really cool retro style granny square patterns. I bet Annie's has a bunch of patterns for granny square sweaters and cardigans that you could find on their website. But that is something that I've really wanted to do, maybe someday. I love the really retro ones, you know, the ones that look like you could have made it in the 70s. You know, Grandma made it with all of her scrap yarn that she just kept because, you know, everybody saved everything, and she couldn't bear it apart with even a few inches of yarn from the end of her project. So they went into the scrap basket, and then she made Afghans from it. You know, she'd just save it all and then add on to that granny blanket or the poncho that she made you know. I had a really cool poncho when I was a kid. I wish I still had it, you know. Now, my grandmas did not crochet. I actually learned crocheting from not a relative, but we called her Aunt Dorothy. She was an amazing woman. She never had any children. She loved kids, and she was a master seamstress, crocheter, knitter. I mean, she did everything. And she would have me over. We loved her so much. She was like a grandmother to me. And she taught me how to crochet, how to knit, how to sew. I will have to admit, crochet was my spirit animal. I did not take to the knitting like I did to the crocheting, but I do know how to knit, thanks to her. So I just worked that 3 single crochet corner in that chain 2 space, and I'm just continuing on working a single crochet in every stitch. Oh, look, Annie's, you guys are awesome. We've got a link here to a pretty granny square pattern. Yay. You know, I'm a firm believer that there's never enough pattern or yarn in the world. Is it normal to go under the entire stitch? I always just go into one piece, if I'm explaining right. So Linda, are you talking about the long single crochet when you're working like a spike stitch? I will give you a very in-depth, if that's what you're talking about, I will go in-depth in how I work my long single crochet, so you guys will get a very good clue as to how I work mine. So I've worked a single crochet in every stitch And now I'm at the end of round 6, and I'm going to slip stitch join into that the top of that first single crochet. So you can see here I put the stitch marker in the second stitch, so I don't want to skip that first one. Wow, they've got lots of great links here to patterns and books, so that's awesome. Thank you so much. So we're on round 7, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in that same single crochet. Whoops. Boy, I really hit it there. Oh goodness, I forgot to get the phone out of here. I am so sorry about that, everyone. I shut it off. Hopefully it won't do that again. So for single crochet in that same single crochet and in the next 4 single crochets. Single crochet into the next 4, and you can see this stitch marker that I placed here might get in my way, so I'm just going to remove it for you to see that I'm working a single crochet in the next 4. And I'm going to put that stitch marker right back where I had it. All right, now I'm going to work a single crochet corner in the next single crochet. So after I've worked that single crochet in the same single crochet and in the next 4 stitches, I'm going to work a single crochet corner in the next single crochet. So this was my single crochet corner, 3 single crochets in that chain 2 space. In that next stitch, I'm just going to work 3 single crochets. Now I'm going to work a single crochet in the next 21 single crochet stitches. So essentially I'm working a single crochet in each of these stitches across the side, and then I'm going to be working a chain or a 3 single crochet corner in that corner space. If you don't want to count, which sometimes can be a hassle, especially if you're getting a lot of interruptions, where we're going to be working that 3 single crochet corner is in that middle single crochet from that 3 single crochet corner. So you could just work a single crochet in every stitch, keep track of that single crochet corner, and then work 3 single crochets in the middle single crochet of that previous round's corner, which is what I'm going to do. I'm starting to get that reconnect message from Facebook, so hopefully you guys can still see what I'm doing here. So you can see here, this is my chain, my 3 single crochet corner from that previous. So 1, 2, and 3. Work a single crochet in each stitch to the middle of that next single crochet corner, and I'm just going to be repeating that all the way around. Makes it easy, right? Don't have to think too much. Do you guys have any big projects coming up that you're going to be working on for Christmas? I know that most of us crafters are already thinking about that. So let's see, we're at our single crochet corner, that middle single crochet. I'm going to be working 3 single crochets in that same stitch. Any big gifts? I've got so many things planned for this year that I just know there's no way I could possibly complete all of them. And I do that to myself every year. I don't know if you all can relate, but I tend to make a very big list and then have to shave as time gets away from me. Always the big plans, you know? It's like, oh yeah, I could make 6 blankets before Christmas, no problem. Okay, so I'm at that middle single crochet from that single crochet corner from the previous round, 3 single crochets into that corner. And then single crochet in each stitch. I love those little projects at the end too. You know, you make those little tiny bookmarks or just little stocking stuffers that are so satisfying to make because they work up so quickly. Especially after I've been working on big projects, it's nice to get something done like in an evening. Another great thing about granny squares, instant gratification, or about as instant as it can be, right? All right, so I have worked through to the end of this round, and I'm going to join with a slip stitch to that first single crochet. Then for round 8, I'm going to chain 1 single crochet in that same stitch and in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, I'm in that middle single crochet stitch from that 3 single crochet corner from the previous round, and I'm going to work another 3 single crochets into that same stitch. So really we're just repeating round 7 by working another round of single crochet stitches all the way around, and then making that corner in that middle single crochet from that 3 single crochet corner. Easy peasy. And I hate to stop, but it's been a while since I've asked any questions. Oh, it looks like Annie's is awesome. You guys are taking care of everybody here. So any questions? And they are helping out. All right, so we're at that corner. 3 single crochets into that corner, and then single crochet in all of the next stitches on this side. I love single crochet stitches. They have such nice stitch definition, such tightness, so few holes. But I will have to say that when you want to grow something quickly, it does grow a lot slower. But they have such a nice look. I like the lack of gaps in a single crochet stitch. And I do a lot of tapestry crochet with single crochet color work, which I love. So single crochet, one of my favorite stitches. So we're at that corner again, 3 single crochets into that corner. Do you guys like single crochets? What's your preference? Double crochet, half double crochet? What's your go-to stitch? Do you have one? You know, I think some people just love what they're doing. I'm kind of that way. Whatever stitch I currently am working on seems to be my favorite. But I do know some people have like go-to stitches that they just gravitate to. I hope some of our connection issues have resolved. Seems like everybody's able to watch, so that's good. All right, we're in that middle single crochet, so 3 single crochets in that middle stitch, and then 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end. I think we're probably going to go over my hour today, unfortunately. Sorry about that. All right, so I've worked a single crochet in every stitch. We're going to slip stitch join to that first single crochet of the round to complete round 8. And let's take a look at that. Really starting to take shape, isn't it? So pretty. So we're going to finish off this color. So green, we're done with green. I'm going to fasten that off. And now we're going to be bringing in color C, which for me is that dusty pink color. So pretty. So slip knot, back on my hook, and we're going to be joining this color in the second single crochet after any single crochet corner. So this is the single crochet corner. So you can see here, I've got my 3 single crochets all worked in that same stitch. 1, 2, and 3. So the second stitch after any single crochet corner, I'm going to attach. So this is that middle, and I'm going to attach in that second single crochet with the slip stitch. This is the round that needs a little bit of adjustment in the written pattern, but so it'll look a little bit different if you're following along with the written instructions. What I'm working is going to be a little bit different than what you're reading on this pattern. So I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet in that same stitch. Now I'm going to work a long single crochet in the next single crochet, and that is going to be worked in round 6. So round 6, remember we marked round 6 with this stitch marker here. So this is my current row, is here, and I'm going to come down below into round 6, which was my first round of single crochet, and I'm going to work at the top of that stitch from round 6. So below the single crochet from round 7, the top of the single crochet from round 6, if that makes sense. And I know this is probably going to be a new stitch to some people, so I want to make sure that everyone understands what I'm saying. And if you have any questions at all, so I'm going to go through this very slowly so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. And if you can't see it well, or you want me to go over it again, let me know. So down here into round 6, that top of that single crochet below this single crochet stitch. And you're going to insert your hook into that space. Yarn over and pull up a loop just as you would for any single crochet stitch. But you're going to want to pull that loop up even with your current row. So you can see this single crochet here. You want this loop to be even with this stitch, because if I had this loop way down here and then wanted to complete my single crochet, look what would happen. It would bunch my work right up. So the most important thing to remember when you're working a long spike stitch like this one is you want to insert your hook and pull up a loop even with your current row. Then you can yarn over and complete your single crochet by yarning over and pulling through both loops on your hook. So see, that single crochet is the same height as my previous single crochet. And so what you do then is we've used the next stitch by working it down below. So I'm going to be skipping that stitch on this row, and I'm going to be working my single crochet in the next stitch. So I'm going to be repeating that on down the round here, or around this side. I'm going to be repeating that. So in my next stitch, I'm going to be working another long single crochet in the same round as I worked my previous one. So I'm going to be coming down below. So I'm going to be skipping that next stitch because I'm going to be using it down below here. And so I'm going to be inserting my hook into the single crochet stitch from round 6, inserting in that space, yarning over and pulling up a loop even with my current row, yarning over and completing that single crochet stitch. Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys are understanding what I'm saying and can see everything. I don't see any questions. Let me know in the comments if it's not clear what I'm doing. So I'm skipping this stitch that's underneath this single crochet, and you can see here, this is the back of my work. So I'm working around both sides. So skipping that next stitch, I'm single crocheting in the next. Coming down to work another long double crochet, pulling up my loop and completing that single crochet in the next. Coming down, long single crochet, pulling up a loop, completing that single crochet. So any questions at all, any problems with that at all? Coming down, working a long spike single crochet, pulling up a loop, skipping that next stitch, single crochet in the next, and just completing each of those in the single crochet stitch from round 6. coming down, coming down, and you can see I'm inserting my hook just below that single crochet because I'm working in that same stitch. This is that single crochet from round 6, and I'm working into that same stitch, working around both sides, single crochet in the next stitch, coming down below, and coming down below. All right, so I worked a long single crochet, and let's see, single crochet, same stitch. We skip that stitch, that corresponding stitch in my current round, and then in the second stitch of the next single crochet corner, I'm going to be working another long single crochet, but I'm going to be making a long single crochet corner, which is 2 long single crochets, a chain 2, and 2 long single crochets. So this is where this stitch marker is going to come in handy again. I'm going to pull it out of here because I don't need it anymore. And basically what you're going to be doing, if you read ahead, it says to skip the next 4. We're really going to skip the next 5 stitches when we finish. Once we've completed that long single crochet corner, we're going to skip over 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then work a stitch in that next stitch. So I found it helpful to place a stitch marker in that next stitch because once I've worked that long single crochet corner, it makes that corner and all of those stitches disappear. I can't count them anymore because I can't see them. So working that long single crochet corner, which is 2 long single crochets, and I'm coming down into that previous round, round 6. So I'm working in this space below round 7 and working 2 long single crochets into that space. So 1, 2, chain 2, and then 2 long single crochets in that same space. It's gonna feel a little awkward, especially when you have a camera in your way. Oh goodness. And I've worked that long single crochet corner with that second long single crochet. So you can see what I mean here. If I were to try to count the stitches underneath that corner, they've disappeared. They're really hard to see. So that's why that stitch marker is great, because it indicates to you where your next stitch is after that corner. So we skip those 5 and we're going to single crochet in that next stitch. That was the next stitch that I marked with my stitch marker. And that just made it so much easier to know which stitch I was supposed to work into. And you're just going to be repeating that all the way around by working another long single crochet in that next stitch from round 6, skipping that stitch in this your working round, single crochet in the next, long single crochet in the next, single crochet in the next. And you're just going to be repeating this all the way down again to the end, to your corner. And if you've worked it correctly, this will give you another guide. This is my completed square. But you can see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 long single crochets in between each of my corners. So that is going to give you a really good guide if you've worked and skipped the amount of stitches that you're supposed to. You will have that number of long single crochets on each side. So you're just going to continue repeating that on down. And again, when you get to the end of this side, using that stitch marker is going to be a big help in knowing which stitches to work into. All right. Okay, so I think we are, where are we at on time? Ooh, already over an hour. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skipping those stitches. And we're just going to continue repeating that on down. Let's see here. Now, in that single crochet corner, again, we're going to be working in that round 6 from that previous, and we're going to be working two single crochets, chain 2, and 2 long single crochets in that corner. Okay. Now, I think we're going to move on because we are taking up a lot of time, and should we go ahead and continue and just watch me work through it? We've probably got quite a bit of things to do yet. We had so many technical difficulties. Long single crochet to that next stitch. I hate to bore you guys. So we're working those long single crochets. And then a single crochet in the next. We are getting to the end of the block. We have one more round after this, and really it's just a round of single crochets working in every stitch with the same color. So we are getting to a point where we are getting close, I promise. Okay, so we're gonna skip the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and there my stitch marker goes. Oops. And in that corner, 2 long single crochets. Oh, and I'm trying to make a double crochet. That's not going to work. So 2 long single crochets, chain 2, and 2 long single crochets in that same space. And then a single crochet in the next. Long single crochet in the next, and repeat that on down this side. And then we get to work on our flower. Yay, we move on to the next thing here. Oops, and this thing wants to just jiggle all around. Have you guys used spike stitches before? Have you used those long single crochets in any previous project? You would actually find this, I used this stitch in my Autumn Rhapsody blanket, which you can actually find in the latest issue of Crochet Magazine. And it was one of my favorite stitches. I had never used it before in any previous design, and I fell in love with it when I worked that. So that was a fun project to utilize that stitch on. Have you guys gotten your latest Crochet Magazine? That blanket is actually one of my very favorite designs that I've ever made. I still have that blanket too. I think it's going to be one of those things that I just never get rid of. Do you have a project like that where you just could never bear to part with it? All right, so we are at our last corner. We're going to work 2 long single crochets. Chain 2, 2 long single crochets into that same space, and I am so sorry about the video moving like that. And then we're going to join to that first single crochet to complete round 9. So we finished round 9. We're on our last round. I'm going to chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch, and then working in each stitch. So we're going to be working in those long single crochet stitches. We're going to single crochet in every stitch. So we treat them just the same. So a single crochet in every stitch to that chain 2 corner, sorry. And in that chain 2 corner, we're going to work a single crochet corner, which again is that 3 single crochets all in the same chain 2 space. So really all we're doing now is just working a single crochet in every stitch. This just tightens up that previous round a little bit, cleans it up a little. My long single crochets have a tendency to have a little bit of a large loop at the top, and so this just cleans that edge up nicely. And so then we get to that chain 2 corner space and we work 3 single crochets in that same chain 2 space. And then again, here we go, we're back to working a single crochet in every stitch. And the great thing about spike stitches is you can really make designs with them. You know, if you're making a project with these and you wanted a specific kind of pattern, you can adjust from row to row where you're placing those long single crochets, and you can really make some interesting designs with them. Even if that's the only little extra thing on your project, it can really make a beautiful end project on hats, on blankets. I was even thinking about making a Christmas stocking at this stitch. They're just so fun. We're at the corner and we're going to work 3 single crochets and then 1 single crochet in every stitch. And I think this square is lovely just as is. Honestly, if you wanted to just make this without that flower, you could certainly choose to do that. You don't have to add that three-dimensional flower to the center if you don't want. Or another great idea would be if you wanted to make a blanket with this square, to make half the squares, and we're at a corner, so 3 single crochets into that chain 2 corner. So you could make half the squares with the flower and half the squares without the flower, and mix and match them, and that would make a great variety of squares. Of course, they'd work up quickly too. Less sewing that way. Now, do you sew your squares together? Do you prefer to sew yours, or do you crochet your squares together when you make blankets? Slip stitch them together, single crochet them together, join as you go. I mean, what's your preferred method for joining your squares? There's so many different options. Sewing is not I think we talked about this before, sewing is not my favorite thing in the world to do. So I have a tendency, I will sew them if a design, you know, it's really necessary for the finished look of a project. And then we're at this last corner, so I'm going to work 3 single crochets in that last corner. And then I'm going to be working a single crochet in each of these stitches till I get back to the beginning of this round and slip stitch to end. All right, so I have finished the center of the square, the main portion of that square, and I'm going to finish this off. At this point, I would recommend you weaving in your ends. We're not going to do that for the video, but that's what you would do at this point. And now we're going to be making our flower. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to be using my rose color here, and I'm going to chain 4. One, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to slip stitch, join to form a ring. For round 1 of that flower, I'm going to chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch. Then I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to do that 6 times. So I'm going to single crochet, chain 4, a total of 6 times. I've done that once. 1, 2, 3, 4, twice. Single crochet, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third time. Single crochet, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's number 4. Single crochet in the ring, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. Single crochet, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that should be 6. And we're going to join in that first single crochet. Make sure I have 6 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So slip stitch. And I've got 6 chain 4 loops. I'm going to chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch. So in that same single crochet, I'm going to single crochet again. And in that chain 4 space, I'm going to work a single crochet, half double crochet, 2 double crochets, half double crochet, and single crochet to make a petal. So single crochet in that chain 4 space. So you can see I'm working in that chain 4 space, single crochet, half double crochet, 2 double crochets. So there's 1 and 2 double crochets, half double crochet, and I'm again working all in that same chain 4 space and a single crochet, and I've made my first petal. Now I'm going to single crochet in the next single crochet stitch. So this single crochet stitch, work a single crochet, and I'm going to repeat that for every one of these chain 4 spaces. So single crochet, half double crochet, 2 double crochets, half double crochet, and single crochet. Single crochet in that next stitch. So at the top of that single crochet stitch from the previous round, single crochet. In the next chain 4 space, single crochet, half double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1, 2, half double crochet, and single crochet. Single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next chain 4 space, half double crochet, 2 double crochets, half double crochet, and single crochet. Single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next chain 4, half double crochet, 2 double crochets, half double crochet, and single crochet in that chain 4 space, single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, 2 double crochets, half double crochet, and single crochet in that same chain 4 space. Now we're going to be joining to end round 2. We're going to not work that last single crochet in the next single crochet stitch. We're actually going to be working a join in the back of the first single crochet. So I'm going to join with a slip stitch behind that single crochet, that first one of the round, with a slip stitch. For round 3, I'm going to work behind the petals of the previous round by slip stitching in the back of the single crochet between the next 2 petals. So slip stitch in the back of the single crochet between the next 2 petals. Single crochet here, so this is a petal, this is a petal, this is between those petals, and I'm going to be working a slip stitch around that single crochet. 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, coming behind. So again, these are those 2 petals. This is that single crochet stitch that I worked in between those petals, and I'm going to come back behind. So I'm going to insert my hook from behind that single crochet, work around that single crochet stitch, and work a slip stitch. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and repeat that back behind again. This is that single crochet stitch between the next 2 petals, coming in from behind, working around that single crochet stitch, working a slip stitch. Chaining 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Same thing, working around that single crochet between those 2 petals, inserting my hook around that single crochet, slip stitch, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now I am, let's See, am I back at the beginning? Not quite yet. Okay, so again, repeating that, working around that next single crochet between the petals, slip stitch. Chaining 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see I have all these chain 4s on the back of my work. And at the end of this round, I'm going to join in the back of the first single crochet. So that first single crochet, slip stitch. Okay, maybe wants to split on me. There we go. And you should have 6 chain 4 spaces behind your petals. So this is the back of my flower. You should have 6 chain 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's all, you can't even see it from the front here. And then for round 3, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, working, oh goodness. I think I want to repeat that round again for some reason. Sorry about that, guys. So for the next round, I'm going to slip stitch into that next chain 4 space. Chain 1, and in that same chain 4 space, and it does help if you kind of push that petal down so that you can see that chain 4 space, single crochet, half double crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, half double crochet, and single crochet into that same chain 4 space, and I've just made another petal. And then I'm just going to repeat making petals in all of those chain 4 spaces, working a single crochet, half double crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, half double crochet, and a single crochet in that same chain 4 space. Moving to the next chain 4, same thing, single crochet, half double crochet, 3 double crochets, half double crochet, and a single crochet. And you can see it works a lot better if you just move that out of the way. Get that petal out of the way so you can see what you're doing and insert your hook into that chain 4 space easily. Single crochet, half double crochet, 3 double crochets, half double crochet, and single crochet, single crochet, half double, 3 double, 1, 2, 3, half double, and single. All right, so we have worked round 4. You'll have 6 petals for that round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I finished my flower, yay! We're gonna fasten that off, and now we're ready to tack that onto our square. It can help a little bit too if you leave a little bit of a longer end at the beginning to tack that on. I should have done that. I am sorry. You can always come in with a length of yarn as well. but I'm just going to get that long length of yarn on my needle. And if you'd like, as I talked about before, you can place your flower. You could go ahead and attach it with a stitch marker to keep it where you want it. But then you're just going to take your needle with your length of yarn, however you're doing it, either with, best thing would be with a long length from the beginning, and you're just going to be tacking it on to your square. Now, crochet has two, like a back side and a front side of each stitch. It's a double, how would I say this? So when you are attaching appliques, sewing something onto something else, blankets, whatever that might be, and you want to keep as clean of a look on the back side of your work as possible, you're going to sew that onto the front side of the stitch. You don't want to push your needle all the way to the back side, because you're going to end up with pink lengths of yarn on the back side of your work. Now, if you were making a bag with this, or something that you wouldn't see the other side, no big deal. For me, if I'm going to make a blanket or a scarf, I want this to be as clean and professional looking on both sides as possible, because people might see it. So I'm going to just tack it on to the front side of those stitches. So you can see here that I'm inserting my hook into this stitch, and when I come to the back side, you can't see that needle on the back side. So you know that that length of yarn that I'm pushing through to sew it is not going to be visible on the back side of my work. And you're just going to be doing that, picking up yarn from the square itself, and then coming up to your flower and picking up the back side of the flower. And depending on how three-dimensional you want your flower is how much you're going to tack. So I'm trying to keep the tack on this section of my flower so that these can kind of curl up just a little bit. You could tack all of these down to make these petals flat as well, to where they're sewn onto that square so they won't curl, the edges won't curl up. So it just depends on, you just make a decision on how much you want to tack your flower down to your square. And you're just going to keep repeating that, picking up from your flower, from your square. You can see I'm already having trouble because I didn't leave a long enough length of yarn for myself. Because you're going to want to have enough left to also weave it in at the end, so that flower will not come off of your square either. So, but you can see here I've attached it pretty well on that side already, but you can't see any of my sewing on the back side of my square, and it's also invisible on the flower portion as well. And you would just continue doing that all the way around, tacking that flower down, and again, tack as much or as little as you want until you are satisfied, and you're going to end up, you're going to end up with a finished square that looks like this. I did block my square, and it blocked out very nicely. Oh, I did not mention what yarn. I am using Paint Box Cotton Aran yarn in 3 different colors. I have blush pink, and of course I threw them on the floor. I've got vanilla cream, and we have, where's my color? Pistachio green for my third color. And these just look lovely together. And I love cotton for how much stitch definition you get with cotton. It's just really, there's nothing quite like it. And this cotton is very soft. If you've never used cotton for anything other than dishcloths, although this would make a lovely dishcloth, I just realized that if you made this into scrubby yarn, you'd have a great little scrubby. But if you've never used cotton yarn for anything other than dishcloths, there's a lot of great cottons out there that make beautiful blankets, scarves. I just love the stitch definition. There's just nothing quite like cotton for that beautiful stitch definition. Let's see, did you guys have any other questions about the square? I think I'm gonna try to move it down so you can see me, and I'm going to shut some of these lights off. So how was it? So you've used long green tail on the back side to tack flowers. You could do that. Well, I'm trying to think. So the green is more up here. Probably I would use your long cream. So from the beginning, if you wanted to, if you kept a long length of cream yarn from the beginning, you could tack as well. You would just need to be super careful to not have that yarn show from the front side of your work when you were sewing it. So just being really careful, you know, when you're sewing it so that you can't see those colors on the right side of your work. So, oh yeah. So Annie's, they've got a link there for you guys if you want to turn these blocks into a dishcloth, because you would want to use cotton yarn for dishcloths. And like I said, what a great idea it would be if you would use scrubby yarn for your flower. And the great thing with scrubby yarn are never fun to work with, really, but with something like this, where you're working into those large chain 4 stitches, it wouldn't be as much of a deal finding stitches like you normally would have trouble with a scrubby yarn. So that would be a great idea for you as well, to make that into a scrubby. It would make a great addition to like a spa washcloth basket gift set for someone. So many different ideas with these squares. I'm sure you guys have plenty of ideas. But yeah, so we went really over time today. I am really sorry. Yes, 12:40. So 1:40 your time. Sorry about all those technical problems, but I will be back next month for another block. I'm going to be working on cotton candy square. I printed it already. Look how pretty that is. Another great little square. I love how open the stitches are on this one. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun on this square as well. So I hope you join me next month in September. That'll be on September 3rd at the same time. It'll be noon Eastern time. I will be back to work on another square. And here's hoping next month we have fewer problems. How about that? All right. So, thanks so much everybody for being here. I had a great time. Minus the little technical problems, but hey, you know, that gives us life spice, right? Is having those little technical issues that we have to grit our teeth and bear every once in a while. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for your patience and your kindness. And you can always check me out at nanascraftyhome.com as well if you're interested in learning more about me. And I really appreciate you guys being here. So take care, everyone. Thank you, Annie's, for having me. I really, really enjoy doing these. I will see you guys next month. Bye-bye.